Now, I want to go over some common modeling problems that you can find. And the first one, that's probably the most common, is the double vertices. So if I were to maybe duplicate this one and right click so that it stays in place, then actually you realize that there's two faces, but when they're overlapping together like this, you don't really notice it too well. So what you would do is you just do a check by selecting everything with a shortcut A, right click and merge vertices by distance. And it will just remove everything that is perfectly overlapping each other. And now you won't have the double vertices anymore. If you don't, then you can definitely run into a lot of problems. For example, if I were to add a bevel modifier, you'll see that it will look pretty weird. And plenty of other modifiers as well will also just have this problem. Now, another one is the idea of flip normals. So if you, for example, scale a cube by mistake and just apply the scale, I believe your normals will be flipped. If not, then I'll have to just flip them manually. So let me just show you. If you go over here in your overlays, you can actually turn on and off the face orientation. And if it's red, then this is the inside of the face that is not supposed to be facing you. And the blue one means that the correct normals are facing you. So what you would do is you just select it and press A and hit Shift N and recalculate normals. It can definitely mess up your model when you're trying to do a bevel. For example, in this case it worked, but like if you have one of your faces that isn't flipped, then it can definitely mess up your bevel as well, like so. Now, another problem is whenever your mirror is not working properly, for example, I'll just scale this down a bit and add in a mirror modifier. And I want it to mirror by the center. But what you have to know is that it mirrors from the origin by default. And if you don't want to apply the location to mirror by the origin, then what you can do is to have an empty. So I'll hit Shift A to add in an empty and this plane axis, and I'll set the mirror object to this empty, and it'll do the same thing where instead it'll take this empty's origin as a form of mirroring. Now, another thing is when your edges are a bit stray. So let me try to recreate this on a cube. So I'll just add a loop cut by hitting Control R and left click, and I'm gonna just delete this face, and I'm gonna just select only these three edges and press F to fill them. Now, at a glance, it will look like these are actually filled, but when you look at this vertice, it's actually not really connected. So it'll really mess up your modifiers when you try to bevel, because even though you're supposed to have a bevel over here, you don't really have one. So what you would do is to just try to delete the face by hitting X and delete faces, and you would just select the loop by Alt and left clicking so that all of these are selected, and press F to fill it, and now your bevel is back to normal. If you can't select the loop, then you just shift select it one by one till you have it, or you can just box select it, whichever way is fastest. And now, same thing. You can sometimes have a straight vertice like this just going out. You'll see that it definitely messes up your object. And the fix is pretty easy. You would just hit X and delete the vertice and it would be gone. Sometimes whenever you're sliding your edges, and let me just add a loop cut real quick to a new cube. Whenever you're sliding your edges, if you select this and double tap G, you can slide your edge. If you're sliding it like this as well, you would encounter double vertices. So just make sure you always just go and merge your vertices by distance once in a while if you feel like things aren't working out too much. And I think that's pretty much it for all the common problems. I hope you guys don't run into too much. And if you do, then you can probably refer this or try to Google it, because a lot of people definitely will run into a lot of unexpected problems. I guess that's pretty much it. See ya.